serious people who talk about the NFL seriously don't do this. They don't do this NBA. He was undefeated in the championship. No. Undefeated in the finals. But I don't buy that when it comes to Michael Jordan and LeBron. I'm definitely not buying it when we're talking about football. You're not going to put Bill Walsh in that conversation just because he went undefeated in 4 Super Bowls when Bill Belichick coached the Patriots to 9. And you're not going to tell me it's just because of Tom Brady, because there isn't a quarterback in the world that can single-handedly take you to 9 Super Bowls. We agree Tom Brady is the GOAT. I think we all have pretty much agreed on that, mostly. But no quarterback is good enough without an all-time head coach to do that. It's just not possible. There's a reason that you haven't seen another player-coach combination win at that level for 20 years in any other sport, let alone football. Let alone the most complex game, the hardest game to sustain success. A lot of people peg 2007 as the year that Brady sort of went from being elite to being like, holy shit, this guy is the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm going to read to you from this book. Bill Belichick's work with the 2007 Patriots was staggering. In his previous 3 NFL seasons, Wes Welker had a total of 98 receptions and 1 touchdown. He had 112 receptions and 8 touchdowns in his first year in New England. Tom Brady threw for 22 more touchdowns than his previous career high, and Randy Moss, who arrived as a neon advertisement for trouble, accepted every tenet of the Patriots culture and gave Belichick more yardage than he'd ever given any other coach. I think why I have so much love for him, admiration, and appreciation for him is because he brought me back down to the reality of everything that I've accomplished up to this point means nothing, Moss said. And it was kind of like I had to refocus myself. He helped me refocus. The team helped me refocus. And then magical things happened. Belichick hit Moss with so many questions in team meetings about the defenses he was about to face, the receiver said it was like you couldn't study enough. When he starts talking, 80 to 90% of the team has a pen in their hands ready to write. Truth was, Belichick grabbed Moss's attention in New England's very first team meeting of 2007. The Patriots sitting by position with the offense on one side of the room and the defense on the other, leaving Stallworth and Moss next to each other. Belichick started in by saying that nobody in his audience was a winner because nobody in his audience was a member of the 2006 Indianapolis Colts. Belichick never stopped challenging his most accomplished stars. Forever sitting in the front row in meetings with his notebook, Brady was under constant pressure from his coach, who sometimes made him prove his worth relative to his backup. I saw Bill pit Matt Castle against Tom Brady in a Q&A one time in front of the team where Matt would answer a question and Bill would be like, Brady, what do you think? And he's like, I don't agree. And then Brady would have to give the right answer. Every day, every classroom session was an education in how to succeed in the NFL. What's the shade of the outside linebacker? What's the position of the 3 technique? What's the alignment of the safeties? How wide are they? Where are Randy Moss and Wes lined up? And according to Randy and Wes, what's their coverage? Heath Evans would line up in the backfield with Kevin Falk, and the two of them would talk about everything they were seeing. In 5 to 10 seconds, they could diagnose everything coming their way. Belichick had given them the answers to every test by teaching them how to study. Belichick lit into players only if they committed unforced mental errors. He never asked players to do things they were physically unable to do, something Evans greatly appreciated after his miserable experiences in Seattle and Miami. Holmgren had won a Super Bowl in Green Bay, and Saban would later become arguably the greatest college football coach of all time. But after he was done with those coaches, Evans had no confidence. It took Belichick, he said, to literally build a new version of me. Mike Holmgren would just yell at me and scream at me and never really give me any way to get better, and it freaking killed me on the inside because I'm a pleaser. Bill knew how to get me and coach me. I couldn't make Mike happy for 4 years. Just a little more insight from The Genius of Desperation by Doug Farrar. The NFL embraced the speed no-huddle offense as never before in 2012 when the New England Patriots ratcheted the tempo of their game to previously unforeseen levels. Bill Belichick's team changed its play calling and schematics to force defenses to bend to their will, something that Bill Walsh had predicted years before. Belichick had already adopted certain aspects of a wide-open offense that his forebears refused to take on. The 2007 Patriots were the first NFL team of the modern era to run more than 50% of their plays in the shotgun. In 2008, 3 teams, the Patriots, the Chiefs, and the Arizona Cardinals, went shotgun more than half the time. By 2014, that figure had grown to 26 of the 32 NFL teams, and the Eagles led the league with an NFL record 86% of their plays with their quarterback away from center. The 2014 Eagles were coached by Chip Kelly. It was his second year in the NFL. But Kelly had already had a fairly major effect on the pros, and Belichick was the conduit. Belichick had reached out to Kelly, the then Oregon head coach, visited the Patriots' practice facility in 2010 to discuss an offense that had taken the Pac-12 by storm with its speed concepts, run-pass equality, and the ability to force opposing defenses to stay in their base formations. The Patriots started to adapt their playbook to a new level of simplicity in 2011 11 under then offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien. A play that may have been called Zero Flood FAP SP238 Max Z Cross XV in 2004 was now called much more quickly. Tom Brady might utter one word after a play was over to signify the details of a new play, and his teammates would understand what to do and where to go with opposing defenses unable to adjust. In 2012, Belichick's team set another record. This time, it was the number of offensive plays in the regular season. They also led the league in points, but they did it in a different fashion by dialing their percentage of shotgun down to 48.2%, which is 14th in the league. Other teams used no huddle more often than New England did, but no team used the hurry up with greater effectiveness because the Patriots still put a full array of plays and personnel on the field. It was spread speed with traditional depth, and defenses simply didn't know what to do. And the most interesting part about this is that in the 2010s, the part that Farrar talks about Belichick is his offensive adaptation and what he was doing to stay ahead of the game and to change trends in the NFL on offense, not just on defense. Tom Brady's not playing defense. Tom Brady's not kicking. Tom Brady's not punt returning. When we talk about Tom Brady taking over a game, it is very different than when we talk about an NBA player taking over a game. What people really fail to understand is that there has never been, in any dynasty, a player-coach combination that dominated their sport, was regularly competitive, if not playing in the championship game, if not winning the championship game, for 20 years. That is a very specific cocktail that has to happen. And the very specific recipe to that is all-time quarterback, all-time coach. And what happened with Brady and Belichick is that they got the greatest quarterback of all time. I think we all agree that's inarguable at this point. And arguably the greatest coach of all time. Bill Belichick was an established, high-level defensive mind prior to Tom Brady. Bill Belichick actually overachieved in Cleveland. People don't like you to, they like to show you the record. They like to show you, oh, look what he couldn't do without Brady. He overachieved in Cleveland. Anybody who really understands that situation understands that he overachieved there and then got scapegoated. Happens all the time. Bill Parcells, another Hall of Fame coach, never went to a Super Bowl without Bill Belichick. And the complexity of changing scheme, changing approach, season to season, understanding the complexities of staying ahead of the curve on both offensive and defensive trends, really, really always prioritizing special teams in a way that other teams, coaches, owners, whatever, were not, right? Those are all things that helped Tom Brady become the player that he was. That's the player that left the Patriots and understood what team to go to in order to set himself up to succeed to win another ring, right? Tom Brady knew absolutely everything he needed to do when he left New England because of who he played for 20 years. The sustained level of success you have to have two separate dynasties, to lose multiple Super Bowls in between and then actually still have another dynasty. A quarterback cannot be responsible for that. Now, if you want to say that Tom Brady was the cog in the wheel that made Belichick's system run so effectively, I'm with you. Belichick could only do what he did because he had Tom Brady, especially later on, right? But Tom Brady in 2001, 2003, 2004 was more of a performer within Belichick's system versus later on when Belichick realized he could revolve the entire system and actually cut corners in certain areas of the offense because of who he had at quarterback. Bill Belichick had to adapt to an entire season without Tom Brady when he had Matt Castle, who was not a great NFL quarterback. He missed the playoffs that year with a record that was historically good to miss the playoffs. Okay. Won games with Jimmy Garoppolo, won games with Jacoby Brissett when Tom Brady was out in 2016 for Deflategate. And the whole time this is happening, he's losing coordinators. They're going in and out. He's losing staff. Coordinators leave, go to other coaching jobs, bring staff with him. They're losing players. Like, there's so much adaptation that has to happen year in, year out for you to be good for a couple of years at a time, let alone 20. And he's the GM on top of that. So yeah, when Tom Brady left, weird transition. They had to transition in a COVID year. Actually did pretty good with Cam Newton, all things considered. They draft Mac Jones. He makes the playoffs with a rookie Mac Jones. Things fall apart. He looks a little washed. His system's not working anymore. Things are changing. Okay. But to say that 4-0 is better than what Bill Belichick did, that's crazy.